I'm having a bad hair day because we were on the chopper today.
Oh my gosh. Can we talk about the chopper on here too?
Oh, sure.
Have we started? Should I have already started this?
Oh, we started.
We've already started. Guys, welcome to the WorkWoman podcast. I cannot believe that it has been as long as it has.
I love this name, by the way, man. The way you played that out. How long did it take you to work that out? Man.
I had this in my mind 5 years ago, and it took me 4 years to execute on it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Because I wasn't confident in my ability to actually be that. I didn't know what I had to contribute to women.
I want to see a lot of little people walking underneath here for some reason.
People? What do you mean little people?
I don't know, because I see you kind of like, you're like a stick figure.
I'm a stick figure, okay.
You're tall and
lanky.
And exactly. And so I don't know, there's a silhouette that you have. A very unique kind of energy about you that I think would be somebody kind of walking back and forth in here. Or maybe there's a bunch of them.
And they're stick figures?
They're not stick figures, but they're little kind of skinny creatures.
Little skinny creatures.
Skinny creatures, kind of elegant skinny creatures that are interesting and mysterious, kind of moving around through
Prowling
here. Or maybe it's a little silhouette thing, I don't know. Something.
All right. Well,
I want to see something right in here.
Right there. Okay, well, I'll work on it.
Doing a little thing. You could have a little caricature.
Okay. Of me that's there?
It's kind of you. It's maybe not exactly you, but it's something that would represent you.
Got it. Are there many of them, or is there just one?
I think there could be many of them. I think there could be different, to be, diverse and inclusive. Yeah.
All right. So for today's episode, guys, we are going to go behind the scenes with Grant. For many of you who don't know, I don't know how you wouldn't know at this point that Brandon and I are business partners with Grant. We have been for 2 years, but I feel like I've gotten this pleasure of actually getting to see the inner workings of how you work.
Yeah.
And it fascinates me because a lot of people don't get to see that.
Yeah.
And you're a fascinating person. You're like a creature that is kind of back there doing your own thing as well.
Yeah.
So one of my very favorite Grant Cardone isms is that intent is senior to the mechanics.
Yeah, intention.
Can you explain?
Intention. Well, that's something I actually learned from some of my studies spiritually. And the concept is that before I worry about the hammer, the nail, the screw, and the board and how thick it is, I need the intention to drive through the board and to do something with it, and a lot of people talk about purpose and the why. And so, when we did the big event where I met you guys, 34,000 people, Miami Marlins Stadium, pulling that event off, if you start thinking about, in this case, mechanics are 34,000 seats, can I fill it up? Oh my God, Super Bowl weekend. Oh, that's a problem. Scheduling, people have to travel. How much is it going to cost? All those are mechanics, right? At that point, you become like, okay, I can't pick up the hammer. The nail's rusty. I don't have the right equipment. The board's too thick. We can never get there. I'm having pain in my forearm, so I can't hit right now. Whatever. You start mocking up all these physical limitations, and then then the deal is over.
Yeah.
And this is why I think people they end up doing really small things, right? We're lucky to jump. Oh, can you believe how high I jumped? Because gravity's pulling us down, right? So then when we see somebody do a big dunk, we're like, oh my God, that guy was like in the air, right? Michael Jordan, he's like got slag time flying.
Yeah.
And so the intention was, okay, I'm going to do the biggest conference in the world. Now, it wasn't just for the biggest conference. What was driving that, and it wasn't money, because money's a mechanical thing.
Okay.
What was driving it was, if I could pull it off, I've never said this, I've hinted around it, if I could pull this off, every event in the world will be compared to my event. That's why I did that deal. I said, so that I could get free press for, we did that in 2017. 2018, they'll talk about me. 2019, 2020, it's 2021. People are still talking about that Miami Marlins event.
It's wild.
And so, also when I can make a phone call to somebody and say 50, I filled up the Miami Marlins Stadium, talked to Little John, talked to Snoop. No, I already heard about it. Talk to Steve Harvey, talk to your boys, 34,000 people. Okay, yeah, I'm coming to your deal. I wanted that. I wanted those assets.
Yeah, the lift.
Not the money, the lift. I wanted this big lift. I wanted this calling card. And people spend 9 months writing a book because I want a business card. I'm a book writer. I'm like, man, don't worry about writing a book. Worry about doing something big enough. And that was the intention behind that. Had I got stuck in the mechanics, I would have never done the event.
In your career earlier, did you get caught in the mechanics? I feel like a lot of people get really stuck there. Most business owners do get caught in the mechanics.
No, I lived in the mechanics. I lived in limitations. I lived in I don't have the money, or I have the money and I don't want to use the money now.
Yep.
Because I got the money. I got Nathan to give me some money. Last thing I want to do is reinvest it. Like I wanted that money for the money. And so I had these limitations: save for a rainy day, put your money in your retirement account. These are all mechanics, right? Oh, save money for the future. Oh, buy a house over here, another mechanical thing. And money's hard to get. Like I had all these limitations. So time, space, matter, these things are limitations. The physical, I'm 5'8", I'm not big enough, strong enough. So I've never wanted to just be 5'8". You know, so I've had this thing inside of me ever since I was a little kid. I'm like, I know I'm bigger than this.
Yeah. And you can become bigger than this through your intention?
Well, because I know I'm not this limitation, this physical.
So is this also a mechanic?
Totally mechanical.
Interesting.
Right? If you cut my arm off right now, or you cut my hand off, I'm still Grant Cardone.
Okay, so it's a mechanic.
If you take all my hair off my head, I'm still Grant Cardone. You know, if you take my eyes away
unless you're Lewis
me,
Curtis.
Well, I'm still Grant Cardone though. End of the day, I just lied to people because I was still Grant Cardone.
True.
Whoever that is. By the way, you could take my name from me, but I'm still me.
This being.
Whoever I am, whatever I have kind of, got going on is me.
Do you still get caught in the mechanics?
Oh, yes, for sure.
So how do you unstick yourself from intention to get to intention out of mechanics?
So...
Like, do you feel it when you're starting to come up against it?
Yeah. We were looking at, we went for a tour in a helicopter this morning of a bunch of real estate here.
This is why he has a bad hair day, guys.
Yeah.
That's why the hat.
Well, and the windows weren't open, so it's just I didn't do anything with my hair this morning, but because I knew I was going to go on this helicopter. So, I'm looking at that piece of land right there. Grant is $250 million in Miami. Mm-hmm. We sold it for $150. They want $250 now. There was another piece of real estate I looked at. They want $210 million. I'm like, how am I going to do this? And then I started thinking about, I want to buy that one. I want to buy $1 billion worth of stuff. Like I want to do something so big now because I've been doing this thing for a little while, that other people are impressed with. But at some point, I'm like, I'm done. I want to do something else. I want to do something really, really big. And so the first way I get over that is I start thinking, hey, just give yourself permission for a second. Now get close to it. So for me, looking at something, getting a little closer to putting my feet in the ground, meeting with somebody that's done. I had dinner with Don Peoples last night. He's doing an $800 million deal.
Cool.
And today we looked at an $800 million deal. Like it's almost $1 billion. Like if I could do $1 billion deal.
And being close to it makes it real for you?
Yeah, it's like somebody bought that. Yeah. Somebody bought that. Somebody did that. So I need a little bit of the I need to see that there's a hammer and a nail, but I don't need to be the guy picking up the hammer and the nail because. Yeah.
But somebody does need to.
Somebody has to.
But is that person? So I think of this chain. My head works like org charts, and maybe that's the wrong thing. But it's like there's somebody at the top, you in your organization, that should be focused on the intention. But there is somebody, there is Sherry, there is Jared, there is Ryan, who 100%. Have to have mechanics.
Right.
But are they also working on their own intention to...
I don't know, but they need they need to work on my intention.
Okay. And be the mechanics.
So they need to be the mechanics, and they need to not share with me the mechanics. So Elon goes to his guys and we're going to Mars. Well, Elon, blah, blah, blah. Hey, guys, he probably dropped it at that point. I want a tunnel. I want a tunnel between Las Vegas and Los Angeles. That's what I want. Let's figure out how to do it. Certainly, he knows it's possible, right? So, I know that a 34,000 person event is possible. The fact that Derek Jeter, who owns the place, can't do it doesn't mean I can't do it. It just means that that many people don't want to watch a baseball game on a Saturday afternoon. So the seats were there. The place was built. It was empty that weekend. All I had to do was fill it up. I mean,
sounds simple. So
pretty
easy.
Simple. As long as you got the team saying, figure it out. And leave me, don't tell me how the plane works while we're flying. Just get me to the destination.
Do you ever choose to feel bad that somebody has to figure out the mechanics, or do you think that that's their value?
I don't feel bad about it. Shit, I've been doing all that dirty work my whole life.
It's their opportunity.
The only reason anybody would feel bad about it is I had a neighbor in Los Angeles, and I had Leo DiCaprio was my neighbor, and she was the nutcase neighbor. her husband had
Hate those
written a bunch of
neighbors.
Elvis Presley hits, and they were like screaming. And I'm fine for liberal, socially liberal or conservative, whatever. I just don't want the fanatic on either end.
Yep.
And she thought that Leo, we had a streak that was bad. And I said, well, why don't we all chip in and fix it? She's like, Leo should fix it. Leo's the one that makes all the money. I'm like, Leo uses a part of the street, I use a part of the street, and you, crazy lady, use a part of the street.
Yes.
Well, just because Leo gets 20 million. But you see, I think she never did those jobs. I don't think she did that, whatever Leo had to do to get there. And so I don't mind taking out the trash. I don't mind picking up the hammer. I was a carpenter when I was 16 years old. And, you know, I don't feel bad about doing those kind of jobs. So I think I'm doing somebody a pleasure to give them a job. I just pay them fairly. I don't underpay them.
Interesting. I like that. Okay, before we start
I've been without work, by the way. You give me a hammer and a nail and tell me here's work rather than no work. I'd like to have the work. I'd rather have the work than not have the work, and I'd rather not be paid for the work than not have work. I'd rather have the work and not be given money for it.
If you could figure out the mechanics faster, you don't care that there's inefficiency in the organization, that somebody who isn't you is now figuring out the mechanics.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's going to be there's going to be somebody that doesn't do it as well as I do, and I'm not going to do it as well as somebody else either. Like I write books, I don't write books as well as other people. I just sell more.
Which one's more important?
But they're better writers, you know.
Which one's more important?
I don't know, you know.
Okay, love that. So you get close to it. Okay, second thing that I loved.
Okay.
That I loved. You'll hate the things that you're dependent on. You said this at a mastermind when we were in Denver.
She listens to everything I say, by the way.
Listen to everything.
Yeah.
I write it all down. I reread it. I go back to it.
She asks questions about it, you know.
Well, because it's fascinating to me because I can relate to certain things and there's certain things I can't relate to, but it's not my place in the moment to ask the question. So right now it is.
Yeah.
So you'll hate the things you're dependent on. If you have customers and staff that you don't like, the reason you don't like them is because they remind you of your dependency.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit? So
what I really said there is when I resent something, it is because I know I'm dependent upon it.
Okay.
Okay. It's more like the things that you resent. Customers, I remember I used to call them car dealers and I hated their guts. I'm like, I hate you guys. You're freaking cheap. You're hard to deal with. You're never satisfied. You're never happy. But the truth was, and all that might have been true. The reality was every time I did business with them, I was reminded that I was lazy and I kept only doing business with a particular audience that I was dependent upon. And because I was dependent, hey, Mr. ABC Nissan, right? And they'd say no to me. I'd be like, God damn it. Why are these people so dumb, ridiculous, so difficult to deal with, like unappreciative? But the truth, all that was just noise. It was dramatization of an idea that I should have been calling on the plumber, the contractor, the roofer down the street, the chiropractor, the dentist, the insurance agent, of which there was an Allstate, a State Farm, like the endless list. The banker I could have been called on, but I wasn't. I was lazy. I was calling on one guy. I knew their nomenclature. I knew what their problems were, you know, and I went back and they didn't appreciate me and I probably wasn't being appreciative of them, but more importantly, I was dependent upon them and that pissed me off.
And is the next step when you find that you're dependent on a team member, that one salesperson in your organization,
or customer, or the what's it called when you got one great salesperson in a company, or they're called what? When somebody's a star. They become what? A diva.
A diva.
Or a prima donna.
Prima donna. When you've got a prima donna.
Dude,
breaking all the rules, not showing up on time, but they're getting the
you're
results.
like, oh my God, what do I do with him? Go get 10 of them.
So that's when you come up against that.
You're dependent upon him.
You're dependent. We now know that you're dependent.
You're an idiot if you get rid of him, and you're an idiot if you just start hammering down on him because he showed up late. The guy's a freaking, you know, you don't hammer on Jesus, right? Kanye does his thing. Hey, you want to be late, bro? Be late. You're Kanye, man. Like, you know. So, I think you just have to make some kind of, rather than beating one guy up and getting rid of one superstar, why don't you go get you a team full of them?
So this is to me what 10X means. It's just, I think most of the questions that I do have are around that moment when you have this realization that it's actually your fault for the situation that you found yourself in, whether it is the team member or the client.
Yeah.
okay, what do you do in that moment to recognize this is my fault, but then I pivot to expand so that I never have to have this problem again. But then when you expand,
or
you
maybe
have the
want,
problem.
Maybe you want 10 of those problems.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like, I think a lot of people are trying to get rid of their problems. And, you know, the last 2 people I worked for went out of business. So, and they both would say, oh, Grant Cardone is a pain in the ass. He is a pain in the ass. He's hard to deal with. He wrecks our culture. Okay, I have my own culture. My culture was way better than the culture of the company. It was all productive, right? It was like grow, you know, get deals, get more margin, make more money. And both of them are out of business. One of them, the third one, was a guy that I worked for. He was like, oh my God, he was this great, unbelievable speaker, went all over the world. But what I've done with my career is like 1,000 times what this guy did. And I remember looking at him saying, that guy is like Van Gogh of speaking. You know, he was amazing.
Yeah.
But what I've done with my business, even the first guy that I learned from, a guy named Jackie Cooper, you probably heard me reference this guy. I watched automotive tapes on the business that I have built. Like, and I was 26 when I saw this guy. I was like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. He died broke, you know? And so I watch these guys, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make those mistakes. So just because I work for you, just because you got somebody that works for you and they're a prima donna, man, you should put that into like context. I would not have been a good manager, by the way. So
what do you mean by that?
Well, I wouldn't have been, to promote me wouldn't have been the solution. Like,
So
let's make him but to make me an owner might have been.
So that you were more
he
responsible?
Yeah, well, so I could actually grow the company.
And be responsible for that part of the business.
They would still have me.
Yeah.
He would be part of our deal rather than I have my own deal.
How do you know if that's recklessness versus Grant Cardone-ness? Because there are some people that are like that and they're actually just reckless, but they look the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I have been reckless, you know, but not very reckless. No one's getting hurt around me.
Right.
You know, they didn't go out of business when I was there. They went out of business when I left there. So, you know, Elena says I'm a terrible driver and that I'm reckless and da-da-da. I'm like, okay, well, you see any scratches on my car? Because I see some on yours. I just
I'm sure
say,
she loves that.
huh?
I'm sure
Do
she
you know
loves
somebody
that.
back my car into a plane today?
What?
Yes.
What do you mean? How'd they back into a plane?
I got a big dent in the back of my
G-Wagon?
G-Wagon.
Who drove the
I said,
car?
they didn't back it into my plane, did they?
Oh my God.
Somebody
Could you
else's
imagine?
plane. Can you imagine?
Is it damaged? Is the
Yeah,
plane
look,
damaged?
I hope not. I hope the plane's not. I'd rather the damage be in my car than be on somebody's plane.
Gosh,
That's
yeah,
terrible.
that's a big one.
So like, you know, yeah, I think people should be reckless though. I think, you know, back to the reckless question, I think everybody's being too careful. You'd almost be better off. You know, when I go to a stage, the first thing I do when I go to a stage, you might remember when I was doing this mastermind, because I know you were in the room.
Yeah,
First,
you go to the edge.
I go right to the edge and hang my feet off. You know, it's not one, I want to know where the edge of the stage is, but also I'm reminding myself, hey, go ahead, go all the way today, you know? Because you don't know how far too far is until you go too far. And so I think most people are playing way back in the middle of the stage of their life.
You're good at that because you have ethics, and most people don't see your ethics because they don't want to, or for whatever reason they just see the recklessness. How do you balance knowing that
Do you think people see me as reckless
probably
or
maybe
rambunctious?
Depends on the person.
Yeah.
I think
I've never heard anybody call me reckless though.
Really?
No.
Oh,
Have you? I don't think reckless is the right word.
okay. If
I
I was
think
to
it
choose
could
a
be
different word,
pushy, could be obnoxious.
I've heard people call you reckless before.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Obnoxious, careless,
Insensitive.
for sure.
But they don't see.
But actually, I'm not actually insensitive. I am consciously provoking. I am not unaware. I think when I think of the word insensitive, I think, oh, I don't know that I just brought up that thing that everybody's tiptoeing around. I
And
brought
then
it
you
up
just-
intentionally so that we had to quit tiptoeing around.
Can you talk about
Like
the
the lady in
conscious
the
piece?
wheelchair the other day. I'm like, what's wrong with your legs?
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
there's 2,000 people in the room and nobody wants to ask the lady. Like, I'm curious. I was with a blind guy once. Dude, what's it like not to see? I want to know. Like, and most of the time they actually become more interested because I'm interested and we don't have this thing in between us. So
You're not ignoring this thing that's very obvious.
yeah, and I'm interested. Everybody else is sitting on their interest, you know, so anyway, I don't know. Maybe I am insensitive. Maybe I definitely am obnoxious. I would definitely take I am obnoxious. That's why I got my apology T-shirt.
You apologize in advance.
Yeah.
Takes it all away. Can you talk just a little bit more about this conscious provoking? Because you are incredibly intentional about it to get attention. It's for a bigger purpose. But people around you, and Elena was talking about this on stage at GrowthCon, people around you feel like they have to explain you because they just see the first thing, but they don't understand the depth. You're okay with them not understanding the depth because you're getting the attention consciously on the front end.
I think it's not that I'm trying to get attention in the moment. I'm trying to get people that are aware enough. You know, I'm not at that moment concerned about the whole audience. I did something on a Clubhouse this morning. There was, 1,600 people in there. The entire presentation was done for one person. It was not done for, I spoke to 1,600 people with the hopes I could drop a hook on one guy.
Did it drop?
Oh, it dropped like perfect. Like 5 minutes later, I get it. Bang! You know.
Everything.
And my wife was like, I cannot believe that just happened.
Because
she
was
knew
it
I was doing
wild
it.
what you were saying?
Yeah, pretty wild.
Oh,
And
okay. Can you share or no?
No, it's too soon. You know, I got to give it about 2 months.
Okay.
But see, Elena looks at this thing different than I do. I am not consciously trying to do. I was this morning with this guy on Clubhouse. I had a message I wanted to deliver to one person, and there just happened to be more people there. My point is, you know, you hear things that I say that a lot of the audience just misses, you know, because they're hung up in some other something else that served them for the moment, and you heard something else. You are interested in another level. You have maybe some doors open to you that aren't open to other people. You know, not everybody can see around the corner, and so you know, you've been in a car before. Did you see that? No, I didn't see it, but it happened. There's an accident that happens and Nathan sees it different than you see it, different than I see it. Well, I'm not sure who's right, but I know people see things that other people can't see. And so, and hear things other people can't hear. And I know I've been like that.
And you're talking to those people in that moment.
Well, I'm talking, and I just happen to be talking from this place. I know where I have been in a training before and maybe done something 5 or 6 or 7 times. The same information, by the way. Every time. I'm like, I read this book 3 weeks ago. That was not in this book.
Yeah.
You know, 3 months ago, I do a course, similar course on the same material, covering the same material. I'm like, I did not see that there, man. Where was I? Like, I was there. I just couldn't think with it yet because I hadn't finished it. You know? And then maybe my mind changes and all of a sudden I see something different. So like when I grew up, I used to believe that, you know, buying low and selling high was the deal. Today I'm like, oh wow, man, now from experience, I believe that because I was told that. Now I'm like, oh, sometimes buying high is better than buying low.
Why?
Because people that you know, if I'm not dumb, so why would I buy high? You know, and why did the previous 4 people in front of me buy high?
Because it's valuable.
Because it's going to be way more valuable in the future. You know, so I sell to a better client. And anyway, those are kind of mixed up topics about, but it really is about the same thing. Like I have the right to change my mind, and the audience has the right to change their mind too. Is that in there?
That was totally in there. You said that over this past weekend.
Dude, most powerful thing you can do. Most powerful thing you can do in your entire lifetime is change your mind.
Tell me more about this.
Because
why?
Because we all can look back 10 years ago and say, God, I thought I had it figured out. Everyone, I'd never met anybody that didn't have that experience. When I was 20, I thought I had it figured out. When I was 30, I thought I was an idiot when I was 20. You know, because you become aware of more things. So the most important thing, you know, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. You know, well, maybe you need to undo that idea and just say, hey, wait a minute, maybe I should do this. And I think a lot of us miss. It's not what we don't do. You know, it's you know, getting locked up and living an entire lifetime with one set of beliefs.
Can I tie this to one of my other favorite Grant-isms,
yeah.
which is you're comfortable being Grant wrong? I will never forget
Grant
on that
wrong.
first Growth Con stage that we went to at Marlin Stadium. 35,000 people are around. You're in the middle of a keynote. It's Saturday morning, and one of your team members, who I think is still in the building, wore a hat that was not being sold at that event.
Yeah, right.
And you paused everything that you were saying to tell that person to go take the hat off because you weren't selling it. And then you went into this whole thing about if you're going to be wrong, you're going to be Grant wrong. If you're going to sell something at an event, he's still promoting 10X, like that's a great hat, but if it's not being sold.
Yeah, like then somebody in the audience, I want that hat over there, the green one, the green X. I'm like, okay, we don't have the green X. Why are you wearing it?
Right.
Don't be an idiot.
So how does it
I like
correlate?
the green. Yeah, well, that's right. Well, that's fine that you like it. We ain't doing you. We're doing Grant. This is the Grant thing. We're going to be Grant wrong. So, like, when we go into these, and Jared has a lot of the back behind the scenes of this. I'll go to Jared and like, Jared, that thing looks wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It doesn't look the way I want it to look. And he's like, okay. I'm like, we doing, he's like, I'm testing out. Fuck the test. I don't care about the test. Do that one. This is the one I want to see.
Yep.
This is the one I want to push to the market. Now, Jared he could say, this one's outperforming the other one by like 7,000 times. And I'll be like, okay.
I love this one.
Let's stay with this one.
This is the best one.
The ability to change my mind right
Yes.
there. I was locked in. I was extremely excited and exuberant and confident my way was right.
Yep.
I don't mind being Grant wrong. Okay, I'm wrong. Stay with that one.
Yeah. No ego associated with that.
Notice the two things that you just talked about, like the ability to change my mind in a second. Like, no, this has got to be the way. Oh, really? Oh, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And like, so the executive has to be able to shift that fast. So like, I don't spend a lot of time. I spend no time in thinking I was wrong. I don't
In
mind.
the past, like no time
with that,
thinking.
with
okay.
that, right? Or even, I mean, yeah, just move on. Because the way not to spend time in being wrong is to do the right thing. Because now my only reference point is, I did the right thing and we got the results. I don't have the wrong. So when I say be Grant wrong, hey, we're going to do 10, we're going to have a red X, and we're going to go for Grant wrong. And meaning I'm willing to be wrong on it. I think it's going to work. Let's make it work. And then the next thing you know, 10X is like this big deal. I didn't plan on it being a big deal, by the way. I planned on being a big deal. I thought I could be a big deal. I just needed something to express it through, to get credit for, but it wasn't like, that's the thing.
Have you ever felt like that's the thing? Like before it happened?
I've done things and said things before where I'm like, well, that shit was good. That was real good. But I think everybody has that experience.
But you didn't think 10X was going to blow up the way that it did?
I knew there was going to be something. I wrote Sell or Be Sold, then I wrote Closed Survival Guide. Then I knew I'm in this writing thing. I knew the writing books was never going to be the bomb, but I was waiting I knew Sell or Be Sold wasn't right, and I knew Closures wasn't right because the audiences were too small.
Okay.
So then I wrote If You're Not First, You're Last, and that was really just kind of like more of the same, but mechanical. If You're Not First, You're Last was very mechanical.
Which gets back into, can I get you back on this train?
But 10X was like, I knew intellectually I needed to leave that sales space.
Was it because that was the intention and you were still in the mechanics before that?
No, it was that I was still feeding the beast.
Oh, I really wanted there to be like this really nice, like story-esque transition where you went from being mechanical Grant to having the intention.
Well, it is a bit of the mechanical. I'm feeding the beast. I had this body of audience that I had to keep feeding. Okay. So If You're Not First, You're Last was like, okay, guys, I'm trying to transition. And I'm like, okay, the humpback needs one more bucket of krill. So I wrote If You're Not First, You're Last. And then it was like, okay, I have to, and this was more intentional, not mechanics. I have to transition to another audience. And I'm like, what does that have to be? What audience do I want? I want business owners, big thinkers, addicted kind of obsessive people. And somebody where I don't have to explain anything to, big think. And I'm like, 10X. I wanted them to see a book and say, I don't need to see anything else, I want it.
Yeah.
And that was the 10X rule.
Love that.
And then I followed that up. I fed the beast again with Be Obsessed or Be Average. I doubled down on it. Be Obsessed or Be Average was really to go after literally people with OCD, ADD, ADHD, bipolar, everybody that's being It was actually a big attack on the big pharma, but under the radar. I've never even said that, but that's really who that is. That was hey, you have permission to be a freaking maniac and a freak and an addict and all that, right? So those two things coming back to back really opened that audience up and started. I didn't know 10X would be what it is, but it definitely did become the thing. Not the book by itself. It's when we started doing the conferences.
Really?
And started talking about the 10X movement.
Was it the 10X Growth Con, or were there conferences before that?
We did a 10X. This is actually number 6. We call it number 5. Oh. But there was a first one.
Why do you call it number 6? Why not name it?
Because
we're just too
well,
far.
the numbers were never. I was never one of the guys. They just started putting numbers on them, right? Number 2 and number 3, but they got number 1 wrong. Number 1 was not Miami. Number 1 was Cabo San Lucas, and there was 50 people there.
And it's not the one on Cardone.
Our lighting was like, I think they had flashlights lighting me on the stage. I don't know if we have any footage of that we can give her. I'm in this purple outfit. No, I'm in a white outfit, and because the lights have a purple tint in them, I look like I'm dressed in purple. Couldn't have been more than 50 people in the room. I think we paid half of them to be there. Some little girl on the beach in Cabo or in Cancun, we got her off the beach. She was selling Chiquita's little gum packs that day. Gum. So anyway, umbrellas and little stick figures and little things. So anyway, that thing now is around the world.
But that was the starting point of making the book bigger. What is the strategy with the?
It was like I was trying to get the audience. I was trying to get out of this audience. What happens is I built an audience of salespeople, right? And so and they were like, I was grooved into a sales guy. So now I'm like, I have to get out of this audience.
To a business owner, to a real estate investor?
Yeah, because the business owner doesn't want to be with a sales team.
Right.
You know, the guy that wants to go public, Glenn Sanford. Okay, he's not going to listen to the sales presentation forever. But he'd listen to me and Drew Brees talk.
Right.
He'd listen to me and Bethany Frankel talk. Because now he doesn't know exactly what's happening to him.
Yes.
But for me and another sales guy to sit there and jab out about objections over and over, I'll never get Jamie Dimon from, a major bank to have that conversation, right? But if I start doing something bigger than that, so I was having to feed this audience that was buying my stuff. We were selling Cardone Youre. I was basically a sales guy. I was not a real estate guy, much less the 10X guy, much less the biggest business conference in the world guy. We weren't Cardone Ventures yet. We weren't out buying companies and partnering with companies. We didn't have 34,000 people at events. I wasn't hanging out with Kevin Hart and Floyd Mayweather and Dana White and John Travolta on a Sunday afternoon.
Having them just pop into your events.
I couldn't get TV shows because I was a sales guy. I tried to get on Shark Tank. Shark Tank said no to me twice because, he's just a sales guy.
Wow.
Well, they're not saying that now, but.
I would hope not.
Yeah.
So the intention then.
Yeah, the intention
became.
And it wasn't mechanical.
Right.
But I did have a problem.
Right.
And the problem was the asset had become a liability. And the asset was my audience.
Was that a dependency, maybe?
No. Well, it was definitely independent. It was easy to talk to them.
Yeah.
I knew all the words, It's like selling medical supplies, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm going to take you out of medical supplies and I'm going to push you into real estate. And you're like, whoa.
Is there an insecurity there that moved from the sales? Oh, there was.
Yes, 1,000%.
What did that feel like?
Terrible, like fear.
You couldn't talk to the business owner, that you couldn't engage them at that level?
Yeah, like what am I talking about? Brandon's got a whole vernacular vocabulary that I don't have.
Yeah.
But
you were a business owner.
If I go into a Bitcoin environment or EFTs, I'm like, what are they talking? I can't even think with what you're talking about right now,
I listened to you 2 years ago now talk about when you made the decision that financial literacy wasn't going to be your problem, and not financial literacy with your real estate, but like the stock market and really understanding P&Ls, balance sheets, and kind of more of the speak. Was that all tied together when you were trying to talk to more business owners and you started to just engross yourself with understanding how those things work?
We got to do another one of these. She's good, man. God damn, she's good. We got to do it on the chairs next time, too. It's like, give it that kind of couchy,
I'm down.
Coffee, maybe some tea, a little cognac.
Love it.
Sherry's
no
going
cigars.
skiing next week.
What?
God damn it. We're thinking about going to the island, little pipe.
Oh, really?
Okay, so what is the question again? Give me that question again.
What was my question?
Something about being intentional.
You like when you were making the transition from the salesperson to the business owner,
Yeah.
and you also made a decision with your own education to learn more and increase your vernacular.
I mean, I already knew how to make money selling something. Like how many times can you do that before you're like, okay, I'm done with that. I want to grow up and be a real businessman.
Because you didn't feel like a real businessman.
No, I didn't.
And this was only like how many years ago are we talking?
This is maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago.
This is one of the most inspiring things about
Yeah.
you to me was how short this time frame was. Like there was a lot that happened in your life from 20 to
Yeah, but 25 till 51 was like,
26 years.
everybody that I was hanging out with thought I was an unbelievable person.
Yeah. Because you're dynamic, you still have all of those things, but you didn't have what you have now, which is
Well, I remember
intention.
I remember all these guys I used to hang out with, and they're like, "Oh my God, Grant, you're doing such great things," and I'm like, I had money, I was making some money, but I mean, I was in a helicopter today, flying over Miami. I'm like, God damn, when am I gonna finally do something big?
Whoa.
Swear to God, same thing. And then I know the audience goes into, God, when's this guy ever going to be satisfied? It's not about stuff, though. It's about what I know. I heard somebody say today, too many people are living beyond their means. And I said, no, man, look, too many people are living. The problem's not living below your means. The problem's not, don't spend too much money. The problem is most people are living so far below their potential. Nobody's ever going to go broke because you what is it called? Spend over your means, or
Live outside your means?
live above your means, or anyway.
I'm really bad with
there's a
sayings
topic.
like
There's
this.
Yeah.
Something
You
about
are?
your means? Yeah, I never remember.
Yeah. You're gonna look it up.
Live out.
I tweeted about it this morning, so I can
Right,
just find my
your
old tweet.
means.
But
Living beyond their means.
he's like, man, people can't live beyond their means. You can't when you can't live beyond your means. I said, oh yeah, actually, the problem is not that. The problem is living below your potential. And people don't go broke because they spend too much. They go broke because they don't earn enough. And if you just keep earning, you can keep spending.
I love that you're never satisfied because it's that is another thing that's inspirational, but a lot of people don't talk about and give the behind the scenes around the push and the drive. And I've spent enough time with you to know that that's a very real thing for you. You don't just say that on an interview for the purposes of sounding like you're 10X. Like you really are not satisfied and you push.
Like doing the helicopter thing this morning, I must have flown over, 25 properties that we were looking at. I had more fun watching other people flying the helicopter last week. That was more fun for me to sit in my condo. Hey, how y'all doing, man? Y'all having fun? I don't even know who's on the plane. I just know it's full, right? So, and they're wrapping around the place. That was more fun for me watching other people, knowing those other people, than me getting in it myself. Like it was a crazy kind of phenomenon.
Why do you think that is?
Because
now that you have it, it's
because
in the
I have
past.
so much stuff, I have the plane and I have the helicopter. Like I'm going to be on it a couple of times, and then probably it's going to be like let other people be in it. I get over stuff really fast. Like give me a car and I'm done in a day. I get a watch.
But you wrote about it for years.
Yeah, and then I got it, and it's like okay, no big deal. Let's roll. What's next?
So what is next?
I'm just saying. I think everybody has that experience with watches and cars and art and
Helicopters.
and stuff. Right, whatever the stuff is, right? The stuff that you're so proud of the boat, and the next thing you know, you're not using it anymore. We get over stuff. I think that's kind of a human condition, right?
Is that a good thing?
I think it is. I think it's like, okay, what else is there? What else can we do?
Whereas most people say you should be happy because you never do feel that way, so you should just be happy with what you have instead of continue to go after more.
Yeah, what they say is you should lower your expectations to zero, and then you will somehow find happiness.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. Try that experiment. You want to lower your expectations to zero? I mean, and then the next minute the person's going to be like, oh, you're so blessed. Okay, wait a minute. Let me just get this right. A God created you. They created everything. Because that's who I'm hearing this from. The heavens, the earth, the oceans, the lakes, the ponds, the like every freaking possible 60 trillion cells, a body, everything that imaginable in the universe has been created by this unbelievable. But you should have zero expectations of yourself. Like it's a little hard for me to put the two worlds together. And this person is actually doing that. I'm happy but with nothing. So, well, I'm not. I want a lot of things, and I want to think nothing of them.
Oh, I like that.
I want a lot of things because I don't think that I should be spiritually. If I'm in spiritual good condition, I should be in charge of the physical universe. There's no way spirit is junior to material. The spiritual would have to be senior to the physical universe because this didn't exist before somebody had an idea. I'm gonna make glass. I'm gonna make a table you can see through. So this is junior to the idea. The idea would be some kind of spiritual manifestation, right? And then it created this. So this is junior to that. So why would this ever be satisfied? Otherwise, it would have never created this.
But then you get into what's the purpose of even creating this? Like why was
So
glass
I can
ever
put fingerprints on it.
and get irritated that it has...
And like, who's going to clean this now? Look at this. Nathan's going to clean it. Thank you, man.
Yes, thank you for cleaning it. All right, I do have one last question.
Please.
Partners. One of
Don't
my
end on the
favorite-
partners, man. We can't
Okay,
end on
let's
this.
talk
First of
about
all, I got
this.
some juicy stuff for you in here, but I'm going to tell you something, okay? Everything has to be partners. You have to do partners.
To do business with you have to do business with you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I always say this. People write me all the time, hey, can we do something together? I'm like, yeah, I can do something together with others. But I don't see you in my bookstore. I don't see you at my conferences. I don't see you at my masterminds. And I don't see you offer me equity in your company. So I know I can do things with others because I've done things with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, about $3 billion worth of transactions. I bought this office building from another guy. I'm buying a building next door. I pay, whatever we pay, $40 million a year in property taxes. So I have partners that are called the government. And we have 150 employees here, another 350 in the real estate. You guys are our partners. I can be a partner.
Yes.
You're writing me about being one, yet you haven't decided to be one.
Truly show interest in...
Like, dude, you want to be interested? You want to do business with me? Do business with me. Like, it's not that hard. Don't come to me and say, let's do some business together. And I'm like, hey, you bought a ticket, right? Oh, no, we haven't. When is it? Okay, you want to do business with me? You don't even know where my shit is. Like, it's like so like
backwards,
hypocritical. Like, I would never go to somebody,
What would you do?
I would go to Don Peoples and say, Don, I know you're doing that project in Los Angeles. Can I get involved? Can I support your project? Can I support your charity? Before I ask him to help me with my charity, hey, can I support yours?
Does that feel transactional? Or is that just the way that it should
That feels
work?
like an investment.
Yeah, I agree.
That feels like the right
People
flow.
feel like, I've heard people say that that's transactional. You shouldn't just do something because you're wanting something in return.
I don't have to have anything in return, but I do want something. Like, I always want something. I never go to anybody that I don't want something. If I want to give the homeless guy $100 or the valet guy $100, I did that for me. I didn't do it for him.
Say that again. I never do
I
something
never do
without-
anything for nothing. No. I benefit from everything I do. There's nothing. And those of you who don't, oh no, I did it for him. Well, you're just unconscious. The fact you felt good because you helped him. Because I hear you talk about how good it made you feel to help somebody. So that is your payoff. Everybody gets a payoff. It's impossible for me to do that and not have something bounce back and hit me. If I punch you in the face, I'm probably going to feel bad about it later. My hand's going to hurt. I'm not going to feel good about it, and I won't trust other people because I'm going to think everybody wants to punch me in the face. If I do a kind thing to someone, okay, if I hit a guy with $1,000 that's homeless, like that's different than giving him $10 to buy some drugs.
Right.
I give him $1,000 and now he can freaking overdose. So, but if
Not
I
the
give
point, not what we're going for.
no, but if I give somebody enough, like, or whatever, right? I know that I got something out of that moment. Whether it was to get him away from my car, that could be it. Let's be honest. It could be I just felt bad for him. I want to get rid of that bad feeling.
But you're intentional about those things, whereas you just said some people are entirely unconscious when they're doing those things. Like, it's just happening around them, and they're getting some sort of payoff. But
I don't
they
know why they're saying yes or no. I don't think they know why they're saying yes or no. And so everything I do, I'm doing for me. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that. They're like, oh my God, that's so obnoxious. He's so selfish. There's nothing I don't do for me. Everything I do is for me. So when I did a partnership with you guys, right? I needed to know you guys were doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. Hey, we're going to make some money together, and we're going to help a lot of people together. Like I've tried a lot of partnerships, and I used to. My mom told me leave partners alone. I had a sister leave partners alone. I had a partner that let me down. But you cannot do this planet without partners. You got 7 billion people on this planet that are partners. You take one guy hits the wrong button and nukes out the whole planet, you'll find out you got a partner. So now you got to be selective about what partners, how do they think, what do they want to do.
How important is it that they are in it for themselves as well? At what point does your interest and the partner's interest being self-oriented cause a conflict? Or does it never cause a conflict? Because
it does, because who you get in bed with today, they're going to change, right? So I had a partner in Orlando, Florida, where he was he was hungrier than I was in the beginning, and now he's not hungry.
I remember you talking about this when we were first negotiating.
So now he doesn't work, right? He doesn't work. Like he doesn't work. He doesn't push it. He doesn't push past his comfort zones. He doesn't know what he doesn't know anymore. He's not learning. Like he's probably done. He might even hear this, and he knows who I'm talking. He knows I'm talking about him. I had another partner in real estate. We bought, I don't know, we bought a couple deals together. I bought it with my money. He managed them. He got some money out of it. He started buying his own deals. He's got a couple hundred units, and he's satisfied. So that partnership ended, right? I've had a lot of relationships that ended, but I had the relationship, and I would tell everybody watching right now, man, go find partners. Like, go find them. Make that part of your bucket list. It's not, I do it myself. That's a very limited thinking. I'm a solopreneur. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to be the boss. No, you want partners. And you want a lot of partners. Warren Buffett's got a lot of partners.
But in order to have a partner, you have to be able to do business with the partner, right? You have to show in good faith.
You got to be like, y'all came to our conference. You bought tickets where I could see you. I don't know if you had the money or not, or borrowed the money, or I don't know how you got it. I know you were in the right place,
right,
at the right time at a big event. And then you had the moxie and the professionalism to know how to communicate. Hey, could I get 10 minutes with you? But you did it in the right order. And then you showed up for the 4th and 5th day, which was that mastermind. Then Brandon was like, wow, I didn't know what I didn't know. And now I see what I don't know. And he kept making investments in having a relationship. And now we have a great company. And now we're going to go out and do something way bigger together than I could have ever done by myself. And we're helping our partners. For those of you out there making $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, and you're capped out. Like, that's where I was. I was making $3 million a year, and I couldn't bust through it. Took me 20 years. If you guys got 20 years, take the 20 years, but I don't recommend it.
No.
Because your industry could be gone by the time you actually figure it out. When we started scaling, we moved from LA, we had 3 employees. We have 50 times the employees today, 50 times the payroll.
Big problems,
right? So get a partner, man. Get somebody that can help you scale your business and borrow money to do it. Like, get rid of your house if you need to. Trade in your kids for a couple of years. Like, whatever you got to do. Trade your kids in and get a nanny.
There you go.
Rather than buying a house or buying a car, buy a nanny, get a nanny, spend time, get on 10x 360, figure out how we can scale your business. Your business may only make 50 grand a year. It could probably make 5 million.
But how?
If you scale.
Right.
And if you have partners.
And if you make it important enough to say, this is something that I need to figure out, and whatever those things are, I just imagine this whole game, and listening to you has allowed me to do this, where I just think of this game and these pieces, and whatever it is that I want, the intention, not the mechanics, whatever it is that I want, I can actually see what's stopping me in that moment, whether it's I haven't hired a person to fill that role, like a nanny.
That's scaling.
It's scaling. So how do you remove that piece so that you can go and do that in whatever area you're at? So for the businesses, whether you are 50,000 and you want to move to 5 million, or you're at 5 million and you want to go to 50 million, what are the pieces that have to be removed?
First of all, it's the intention. And your intention, you got to clear your intention. I'm like, I want to save 50 grand this year. No, you want to build a $5 million business. I want to reduce my debt. No, you want to build a $5 million a year business. You get debt. Like you're making decisions based on somebody else's thinking. Like, oh, I just want to enjoy life. Okay, well, good. Then just go enjoy life and throw away this business idea thing, because
Right.
Tommy Hilfiger was on the stage, and I know you like Tommy being there.
That was amazing.
You know, like I could tell you're like, how did he get him here? Number two, how did he get him to say what he's saying?
Yes.
You want to tell what was your takeaway from Tommy?
Tommy, my biggest takeaway from Tommy was when he was saying that he didn't feel like he had a choice early on to scale. Like he knew when he was in the back of his car selling the flared jeans, like I'm going to open a store and I'm going to make this brand something where I don't have to have my name on it. You will just recognize me from the logo. And to be able to think that big at such a young age, and he didn't let anybody tell him that's stupid or you shouldn't do that. One of his other pieces of advice was he is always disappointed whenever he listens to somebody else. Stop listening to somebody. Stop listening to everybody around you, because those ideas that you have, if you can really think with, wow, I want my name to be next to this logo, but eventually take my name off and have 9 out of 10 people around the world recognize it.
Crazy, man.
It's amazing. And you just want to help put energy into that so that more people can start thinking with that.
Yeah, and you know, I remember asking him, I'm like, Tommy, do people have to scale? And he's like, of course, you have no choice. You have to scale. And the idea that you're going to stay small and you're not going to have partners, or you're going to keep it all, 100% of it, it's not even possible to do it. It's impossible to do it. You have a partner on your home mortgage. You know, you had a partner that built your car that you drive. You have a partner, the most serious things in your life, or you have a required partner. You go to the hospital, everybody's in charge but you. You know what I'm saying? So you get a chiropractor, you got a partner. One is the guy doing the thing, the little to you, and the other guy is the bench underneath you. The
Two partners.
Yeah, exactly. You got a lot of partners. So make these guys your partners. Make 10X your partner. Let's go think big. Do big things.
Can't wait.
You had a partner to come into this world. Mommy and daddy were your partners. And sometimes can become your limitations. So what do we want to do funny to get out of this?
I know, that's what I was just thinking.
You're trying to think about how to transition, okay?
So
what's something super funny that you've seen me do behind the scenes that they haven't seen? Or something that happened at the house, or...
I would say this backgammon thing is what's currently cracking me up about you right now. But can we explain why we're even shifting? Because I think that that's valuable for them.
Okay,
I started, before we got it rolling, I said, okay, so we're going to end this talking about partners. He's like, no, you don't talk.
Dude, never end with the reason that you came into this, particularly a podcast, because anything on YouTube, or if you're doing Instagram stories or something, you don't want to end with that, because if you end with the pitch, nobody, and our guys should really hear this and remember this, never end with the pitch, because nobody's going to share it.
So what do you end with?
You got to end with something like...
ridiculous?
Dude, like something, what's the word, but something's very like scandalous.
Okay. Scandalous?
Yeah, scandalous, sensationalism, like something freaking, provocative. It's provocative. No, it's not. People don't even know what it means.
Of course I know what it means.
You right? So first of all, me and Natalie, we have this freaking love for rap. Like we have this crazy love. Our lists are almost identical.
Favorite rap song? Do you have one?
Favorite rap song's probably that Kanye song where he's coming out of college. No,
he's coming out of college. He dropped out of college.
Yeah, no, it's. No, not through the wire.
That was after the car accident.
Let me see. Yeah. Let me see. No, this song.
I need to pull up mine too.
Hold on. Now you put me on this. College dropout. Out of college dropout. It's not family business. Is it Last Call maybe?
Oh, interesting.
This song. That's my favorite.
Why?
First of all, I tell Jared all the time. Fuck you, Jared, for making me do this shit, motherfucker. Had to throw everybody out of this motherfucking room.
I like to propose a toast.
Let's propose a
I
toast.
said toast, motherfucker.
Woo! I love that song. Because the reason I love this song is because if you listen, I've listened to this song at least 1,000 times.
And why? What is it?
Because, and every time I listen to it, I want to cry.
Wow.
Because this is about Kanye being turned down. And he talks in it about getting signed by Rockefeller, and how, he's like, hey man, I wrote Jesus Walks and they didn't sign me, and I'm like, God damn, it just like kills me because how much this guy went through, to finally get picked up, and it just reminds me, like, man, just hang in there. Hang in there. Just you're going to figure out something. The world is going to resonate with what you know to be true, if you just don't quit. And Kanye gets a lot of shit from a lot of people about a lot of things, and he gets trashed by so many people. But kid grew up in Chicago, inner cities, man, and the fact that we know him is with one name, and that he could inspire a white guy. And to listen to this one song over and over that inspires me to do something, to hang in there, it's a pretty cool thing. So.
Well, I appreciate Kanye for being somebody who allows you to hang in
Fuck
there.
him.
Fuck you, Jared.
Fuck you, Kim.
Oh.
You and your whole goddamn family.
Oh.
Kanye was fine before he got involved with y'all.
Gosh. All right. With that, thank you for tuning into WorkWoman. Cannot wait to see you
And
next
share
week.
this video. Now you guys got a reason to share it.
I think Grant Cardone just cried on my podcast.
Yeah.
Did you just cry? I think I saw a tear.
think so.
Is it no longer Brandon breaks down? Can it now be Grant breaks down?
Grant don't break down.
Grant don't break down?
Grant gets down.
Did.